got some great folks on the call tonight for this product call. The first one's up. These guys are absolutely fantastic. They are the founders of Time and Money. They know a lot about the products, and they just have they have a big heart and everything. And so the first ones I'm going to introduce to you to talk a little bit about some products and maybe what they've done for them is the founders Randy and Julie Patterson. So Randy, you ready?
Sure. Back in 1995, I started an electrical contracting business with my brother, and it was a high-stress deal. It was a really high-stress deal. And so between the stress and me deciding that I liked to smoke cigarettes, well, between those two, at the age of 43, I had a heart attack. And a month after my heart attack, I started getting symptoms of arthritis. Hardcore, and it took them about 18 months to figure out what was wrong with me. And so I had this rheumatologist in Boise that I would go to, and I was taking a methotrexate shot, which is the same chemotherapy that they give leukemia patients, just a lot smaller dose. And I was starting to lose my hair and all kinds of neat stuff. But anyway, so every 6 months, they would have to do blood tests to see how bad I'd hurt my liver so far. And it was during one of those blood tests that my rheumatologist asked me when I was going to do something about my diabetes. I was going, diabetes? Oh, so I really didn't want to go to the doctor at that point. It's like, okay. So you know what? I had a friend in high school that's a naturopath, and I went, you know what, I'll go see Dr. Adamson, see if there's something that he could do for me instead of, going to the doctor and get put on insulin or something like that. And so I did that. I went to Dr. Adamson and said, okay, here's the deal. I've got arthritis, I've got diabetes, I got high blood sugar. Is there something that you can do for me? He's like, oh yeah. And so I went and saw him. And while I was in his office, he's going, so what are you doing right now? And I explained to him that we'd just started a new company called Time and Money, and that it was a profit-sharing group and some things. And he says, let me tell you about vitamins. And so he explained to me the concept. It was the first time I'd ever heard of it. He explained to me the concept of whole food supplements and why they're so good and stuff. And anyway, so I asked him at that point, it's like, would you be interested in formulating your own line of supplements? Because he used another brand of supplements in his office, and he had mentioned that he had always wanted to do that, to formulate a line of supplements that was, what supplements should be. Anyway, so he took on that challenge for us, and he formulated our Nature's Traditions line of whole food supplements. And so some of the ones that he formulated, one of the main ones that I was interested in was the glucose balance, and because that dealt with blood sugar. And so between changing my diet and figuring out what I could eat and what I couldn't eat and what affected my blood sugar and what didn't, the glucose balance got it to the point where I got my blood sugar in control, and I didn't have to go to the doctor and go on insulin or take any of the drugs or anything like that. So I was real happy with that. So anyway, so to explain a little bit more about how all this stuff works, I'd like to introduce you to the heart of the business. She's the one that makes this thing tick, and that's my wife, Julie.
Hi, everyone. How are you? I just wanted to share a little bit more about the ingredients that are in glucose balance. When I first started studying about herbs, I learned about adaptogens, and I thought those were just the neatest things. There's herbs that are called adaptogens, and what they do is their whole purpose is to seek balance in your body. So if something's too, like your blood sugar, for example, if it's too high, it seeks to bring it down, but if it's too low, it seeks to bring it up. So glucose balance has several different adaptogens in it. One of the ingredients, one of the first ingredients I want to talk about is Jerusalem artichoke. And when Randy first started going to Dr. Adamson, that was one of the things that he really put him on to help with his blood sugar. And one of the things that Jerusalem artichoke has in it is it contains inulin. It's just like insulin, except it's called inulin. And it has the same effects as insulin for stabilizing blood sugar levels. In fact, I was researching and looking online, they've even isolated inulin now, which that's one of the things that our supplements are not isolated. We don't take a piece and a part out, and they've actually done this with Jerusalem artichokes with the inulin. And so people can take the inulin, and it creates side effects that you don't have when you take it in that complete package of the Jerusalem artichoke. It helps to stabilize the blood sugar levels, so it works for your diabetes, pre-diabetes, and also for hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. It helps with overweight and medical conditions caused by that. It also may help to prevent the development of diabetes. So if you think you're prone to that, even taking glucose balance would be helpful with if you think you're going to be prone to getting diabetes. Another ingredient in glucose balance is the Irish moss. And Irish moss is useful in regulating the blood sugar. Irish moss is thought now to contain 15 of the 18 essential elements that make up the human body. Because of its high vitamin and mineral content, it's a perfect food to replenish and revitalize the body after a long battle with disease. And so since your body has been fighting diabetes, it's helpful in helping your body replenish after that battle. Fenugreek slows down the absorption of glucose and other simple carbohydrates. A clinical study that was done in 1990 shows that fenugreek significantly reduces fasting blood sugar and improves the glucose tolerance test. Another ingredient is Suma. Suma is one of those adaptogens that I talked about. It helps the body adapt to stress. And so when you have diabetes or any illness, your body is under stress. And Suma helps it to adapt to stress by improving the immune system. Suma is also used as a treatment for cancer, tumors, diabetes, and male sexual performance problems. And I got that off of WebMD, that reference right there. Comes from WebMD on the Internet. Gymnema is one of the really cool ones that is in our glucose balance. It is one of the things that I found about it. There are a lot of warnings out there that if you take Gymnema while you're taking insulin, you need to be really careful at monitoring your blood sugar levels because your blood sugar level may be too low. So they always give the warning that maybe you shouldn't take it if you're taking insulin because it's going to lower your blood sugar too much, which I think is really funny because that's kind of our goal is to, if you've got diabetes, it is to lower your blood sugar. So that's the warning they give with it. So if you are on glucose balance and insulin, make sure you're monitoring your blood sugar levels so that maybe that you might have to adjust your insulin. Another thing with Gymnema is it talks about that it should be taken with vitamins and minerals, which is another reason which is found in the Irish moss. And so those two things in the glucose balance complement each other. One of the things that I've always found when I've studied herbs and things like that is you can study one herb and you're just going, wow, that is such an amazing thing, all the things that it can help with and all the things that it can do. But then when you begin to learn a little more, you realize that when you put herbs together and blend them together like Dr. Adamson's done for us, there's a tremendous amount of synergy that happens. And this is a perfect example, the Irish moss and the Gymnema working together to be more effective. cool thing about Gymnema, another thing that's happened, is it helps to reduce your cravings for sugar. Gymnema has been used for thousands of years as an herbal treatment for diabetes, and it can block the absorption of glucose, but I think that reducing your sugar cravings is really powerful because so often those sugar cravings are hard to overcome. Okay, the next one is bitter melon. And this one I thought was interesting. There was a study that they did in 2008, and it's in Chemistry and Biology issue magazine, and they actually had isolated 4 compounds in bitter melon that activate an enzyme that's responsible for regulating metabolism and transporting glucose from the blood into the cells. So there they go again, isolating something which, and they're not sure, okay, is this going to be super effective? They might be able to make a drug from these isolated chemicals and these compounds in bitter melon. But when you begin to really study how important it is to have it in that complete package, we don't want to isolate that. We want that in that bitter melon and those compounds that have shown promise. That's another reason why bitter melon's in there, is because it's in that complete package that's going to help with our metabolism and with our glucose levels. And the last one ingredient that I wanted to talk about that is in our glucose balance is the stevia. For centuries, the people of Paraguay have used stevia medically to help with obesity, hypertension, heartburn, and to help lower uric acid levels. And current research has evaluated its effects for obesity and hypertension. Stevia has shown that it can help enhance glucose tolerance. It's interesting when you think about it because stevia is a natural sweetener. So why would we have a natural sweetener added in a glucose balance? That natural sweetener helps our glucose tolerance. So that's why it's in there. But that's another reason, though, we also added stevia products. We have a whole line of the stevia products for those people that have a sweet tooth and they're trying to find a way to help that sweet tooth without hurting their sugar levels and their glucose levels. So that's why we have that whole line of stevia products where we have the flavored stevia that you can add to water, or like my daughter loves to add the chocolate to her kids' milk, and they have chocolate milk, but they don't have all that extra sugar. Or the strawberry, they can have strawberry milk without all the extra sugar. If you want to add it to oatmeal, the stevia products are a great source of, or you can put a few drops in your water. And those are a great source of having that sweetness, and it's actually helping with your diabetes, and it's not causing more problems. So that was a reason why we brought the stevia products on. So with the glucose balance, that's a lot of the glucose balance can help with the diabetes, with the sugar issues, and a lot of times weight challenges have a relation to sugar handling issues too. So you could also try the glucose balance. Possibly everybody's body's a little different, but the glucose balance possibly could even help with weight issues too. So with the stevia and the glucose balance, it's a great way to get your body on track with handling sugar. And now I guess I get the opportunity to turn this over to somebody that I've grown to really look up to, and all of the knowledge that he has. His nickname is Doc.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. I'm not going to go a lot into the details on these products, but I'm going to tell you my experiences with them and maybe some things that I've seen. When I first got involved with time and money, I was on insulin injections because I had type 2 diabetes. Now, normally for type 2 diabetes, they will give you some pretty nasty medications. Metformin is one of the most common. I could not take these. So the only way to control my blood sugars was to take shots of insulin. Now, there are two types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes simply means that your pancreas is not producing the insulin that your body needs. And most people that suffer with diabetes that wind up on insulin are type 1 diabetics. And the people that are type 2, your body is producing plenty of insulin, but you have literally gotten to the point that your body becomes immune to it. And that's the difference between the two types of diabetes. So the levels of insulin that I was taking would have killed most people, because I wasn't taking 2 or 3 units a day, which is, or per shot, which is common with a type 1 diabetic. I was taking 100, 200. I got up to where between everything I was taking with the 3 different types of insulin that I was taking over 600 units of insulin a day. And I can relate to with what Julie said about watching your insulin levels if you are taking these supplements, because one morning I went to get up out of bed and I went right over on my nose. I checked my blood sugar. It was 38 and spiraling down. And it was because I had started taking the glucose balance, and yet I had not cut back on my insulin. Now, what happened to me was over a period of time, because of being on the glucose balance, that immunity to insulin that my body had developed began to disappear. So not only did I not need the shots of insulin, but the insulin that my body was producing naturally was more than enough to handle any problems that I had. And with the Stevia products, those are some of my favorite products, because, like she said, with people that have a problem with diabetes, type 1 or type 2, they do have a tendency to crave sugars, and that can be problematic, very problematic, because most people, if they're craving sugar or they're craving something sweet, they will go to an artificial sweetener, or they will go to diet sodas and things of this nature. Those have usually got aspartame or sucralose, if not both, in them. Aspartame was actually developed as a rat poison, and yet it's been used as a sweetener. And sucralose, which is the stuff in the yellow packets, I'm not going to give any names out, but the stuff in the little yellow packets, when it first came out, it was hyped as the sweetener that didn't affect sugars and so forth. It was wonderful. We now know, and I have seen this with my own mother and myself, people that have type 2 diabetes, prolonged use of a sucralose sweetener will actually have a very negative effect on your blood sugars. They will elevate. Even though you're not ingesting a sugar, sucralose is basically a sugar alcohol that has been formed into a crystal to be used as a sweetener. As soon as you get off of the artificial sweeteners and so forth, a lot of people will find that their problems with blood sugar will dissipate. Using the stevia alone can help with blood sugar levels. It has been used for many, many years in various countries and so forth as a treatment for type 2 diabetes. And so these products, the glucose balance and the stevia products, the Stevia stuff that we have, is a fantastic 1-2 punch for treating your diabetes and helping to satiate any needs that your body has for insulin production and so forth. If you have type 2 diabetes, your body is already producing all of the insulin you need. It's just that it has become immune to it. And a lot of that we are now finding is because of the garbage that we eat every day. Some of the foods and the processed chemicals, so forth, that we use on a daily basis in our diet is what has made us immune to our own insulin, our own naturally produced insulin. Get away from all of that garbage. Start feeding your body what it needs. And I always tell people, if they're trying the supplements to help control blood sugar, I always tell them this: start with the basic health bundle, then add to it what you need. So for someone with with type 2 diabetes that's trying to help control their blood sugars, start with the balanced health of Sea Garden and the digestive balance. Give your body what it needs to heal itself. Then add the glucose balance and the stevia products to it. With those few products, just those few products, I can't say that we can cure diabetes. That's the FDA would have my head for it. But I have seen many, many people that because of the supplements and the stevia are no longer taking medications, they're no longer taking injections and so forth. So I can't actually say it has cured their diabetes, but they don't need the meds to treat it anymore. And I've seen that time and time and time again. I was one of them. And believe me, what I was spending on insulin alone every month more than pays for any product I ever wanted to order. So get yourself healthy the right way. Yeah, you can bring blood sugar down with insulin, but eventually it's going to become problematic. You may as well do it in the right way. Anyhow, with that, I'm not going to run real long. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them.
Jason, thank you so much. If anybody's got a question real quick, you got like 5 seconds to push your 5-star button. If I see a hand come up, we'll get to you real quick. If not, 4, 3, 2, 1. You had more than 5 seconds. All right. Great. That was a great job. I appreciate everybody on the call tonight. Jason and Randy and Julie especially, thank you all so much for sharing that information about glucose balance and about the other great products that we have, the basic health bundle that Jason talked about and everything. Appreciate y'all. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great week. We look forward to seeing you soon. Good night, all. Bye-bye.